This is the Streamlined Motherhood podcast. I'm Kate Saffel, certified simplicity parenting family life coach and mom of 3. I'm here to guide you back to your intuition, to help you overcome daily overwhelm, and to start feeling confident in the mama and woman you are. Each episode, I'll share tips and encouragement for thriving on your motherhood journey, because this life you're living is way too important to put on autopilot. Hello, my friends. I am so glad you're joining me for episode 19 of the Streamlined Motherhood podcast. I hope that so far your day has been going great. Today, we're going to be talking about seeing the value and worth of the one and only you. Stick around for this deep dive episode because it will leave you knowing your worth so much more than you can imagine. And I know that often we think about these things because we want to be better for our kids. We want to, show the next generation what it looks like to feel worthy and loved. But I want to remind you that you're listening to this episode for you. So show up for you today. Be open to hearing what I have to say, and let's jump in. So this episode has been in the making for a while because, quite frankly, I see how much all of us women need to hear what I'm going to say today. When I interact with all of you on Instagram and email and DM and through coaching my clients, something I see over and over and over again is that underneath all of the problems, the pain, and the struggle is the belief of not being enough. Is that the case for you? I want to be honest that I really struggled to record this episode. I feel like there's so much I want to say on the subject, and I know what is possible for you. And so I kept coming back to it, and I kept writing and adding ideas, but it has to be shared, and it has to be shared exactly how it is. What I do as a life coach is to help my clients move from a place of feeling worthless to powerful, to knowing that they're loved because they are the source of that love. And I have the honor of walking that journey with my clients, but the issue of so many women feeling worthless or not enough outside of my client pool is really upsetting to me because it is a mess of the messages that they and I have heard from our parents, partners, society, friends, words so powerful that we internalize them and then continue to self-inflict the pain over and over. And so for me, it has become a personal mission to shine a light on the truth for my clients and for you listening. The truth is that each and every one of you listening is capable of creating the life that you want, one in which the external of your world positively reflects the happiness that you're experiencing on the inside or that you want to be experiencing on the inside. And you don't have to fake it, you don't have to struggle, and you don't have to believe everything that others say about you to you. You get to decide who you are, your worth, and how you're going to show up in the world. The beauty of this is that you get to be who you truly are, no pretenses, and also model that for your children. Wouldn't it be a gift to your kids for them to have a mother who loves herself and her life? To see her happy and fulfilled and also not taking crap from other people? What could you accomplish in your life if you truly believed in yourself and loved yourself exactly for who you are and not for what you think others want you to be? And maybe right now you don't believe me. Maybe you've been feeling beat up for years and your truth as you see it is that you're just not good enough. But let me tell you, that is the farthest thing from the truth. I could tell you over and over that you're worthy, strong, beautiful, smart, and capable. Will you believe me though? Do you believe it? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Until you definitively decide who you are and what you stand for, the world will try to decide it for you. Whether that's the marketing you see on social media or commercials, the words your partner says to you, or the messages you hear in your community, either you decide who you are or it will be decided for you. And if this episode is already waking you up to how subtly your self-worth has been lost, please take heart that it's not too late. But let's first talk about how you've gotten here. Often we are so unaware that what has happened to us is that we've absorbed what the world has to say about us because it's been happening since we were kids. Someone taught us what a girl was supposed to be, and we agreed to play the part. Whether that was dressing a certain way, showing up for others in another way, for better or worse, our family and our culture gave us our earliest lesson on what it means to be a woman. For some of us, it was negative conditioning, and we're still working to undo the damage. For others, you may have received some positive messages and some not so great ones. Either way, as a young child, you subconsciously chose to believe what you were taught and have carried this into adulthood. As adults, we also become schooled very quickly on how to act as women, wives, and mothers. Then the labels get even more minute, and it might mean you learn how to act as a working mom, or a stay-at-home mom, or a homeschool mom, or a mom of a differently able child. If you have a partner, and I especially see this in heterosexual relationships, your partner may very clearly define your role as a wife and mother for you. All the while, under these labels, the real you, in all of her realness and vulnerability, is still there. Speaking of vulnerability, I wanted to share with you just one small example of how this has shown up in my life. One of the ways that I have felt like I wasn't enough for years was in my faith. The funny thing is that as a child, I never doubted it, and I felt just really confident in my beliefs. They were always there. When Kirk and I were planning to get married, the pastor of his church refused to marry us because of our different faith backgrounds. And lest you think it was because I was raised Jewish and he was Christian or some other mashup of different religions, let me tell you that we were both practicing Christians of different denominations. In fact, this particular person told me that unless I converted to his denomination, our marriage would fail. Fail. What weight? What pressure? It was a fear-based tactic to convince me to change who I am to be something else for someone else. And so for years, I carried that message in the back of my mind that if our marriage failed, would it be my fault? Nearly 13 years later, I think we're just fine. But those labels and expectations from others hurt, don't they? And now as a mother, I see the way that my ideas of how the world is and how my children should be is like playing with fire. Our children and ourselves, we were all born perfect and unbroken. Our world was safe, at least initially, and all we knew was security. But that didn't last, and it is the power of others' words and actions that can break us. Or we begin to break from the pressure of trying to withstand it all. As mothers, we have the power to change that narrative, to be the positive voice, filling up our children with confidence, hope, and strength that they need to be courageous and independent adults. But we have to do the work on ourselves first, to fill our own love cups so that we can then pour into our children. What I wish I could tell young Kate is that loving who you are, who God designed you to be, is far more gratifying than constantly trying to fit into someone else's mold. Life is so much more fun and enjoyable when you realize that everyone else is trying to also figure out this whole being human thing, and that when others hurt you, it comes from a place of their own brokenness. And so in this episode, I want to give you just the smallest of beginnings in learning to love yourself again and truly see your beautiful worth. Now, why did I say the smallest of beginnings? Because this is lifetime work. This is growing over and over to value yourself so strongly that you're willing to love yourself in spite of your failures, in spite of the messages you've received, so that you stop tearing yourself apart and learn to love yourself. So let's talk about the basics of self-worth, okay? I'm going to share 10 truths about self-worth, so get ready to take some notes. 1, you get to decide how you view yourself. If you want to be the most beautiful, smartest woman in the world, it's your decision to hold that thought, no one else. 2, others' thoughts about you are none of your business. If someone speaks negatively of you, you're welcome to wonder why they said that, but it is your choice if you believe it or not. You do not have to believe it. 3, When someone does speak words to you that are hurtful, demeaning, or negative in any way, pause before you agree with them. Because once you do, you've agreed to make that your reality. And just because someone says something about you does not make it truth. I don't care if it's your mom or your partner of 10 years. If someone is hurting your feelings, you do not have to accept it. 4, self-love is rooted in believing that you, exactly as you are in this very moment, are enough, so that you are able to say, I am enough as a mother. I'm enough as a partner. I'm enough as a daughter. I am enough as a woman. 5, so often I hear my clients say something like, well, when I weigh 20 pounds less, then I'll be happier. You're self-harming by withholding happiness from yourself until some external measuring stick is met. Could you love yourself and meet your goals? The answer is yes. 6, often when someone is operating under the mindset of, I'll love myself when this happens, it's because they experienced conditional love as a child. What does conditional love even mean? Well, it's when someone shows you love only when you meet a certain expectation, and love is quickly removed if you disappoint the other person. A really fantastic book on this topic is called Unconditional Parenting by Alfie Cohen, and I will link to it in my show notes. 7, if you struggle as a parent, are quick to anger, yelling, shaming, and impatience, you most likely feel this way because your child's behavior triggers the thought that you're not enough. It's only when we truly believe that we are enough as a parent, love ourselves wholly, that we realize our child's behavior is about them and not us. 8, the more you learn to love yourself, the more love you have to give to the world. The more love you give to the world, the more goodness you'll receive in return. Hating ourselves is hating the world we live in because you cannot hate yourself and love others. The cup we pour from is one and the same. 9, so fill your self-love cup with gratitude for who you are, nothing less and nothing more. From that place, extend love to those around you and embrace them in all of their imperfection too. 10, you are 100% worthy of love already. You don't need to seek it because the gift of feeling loved is already inside of you. You only have to choose to receive it. Now let's talk about how to shift your mindset to feel more love for yourself. First, when you hold a negative thought about yourself in your head, recognize it, see it, acknowledge it. Don't try to push it away, but rather feel the corresponding emotion that arises. Maybe the feeling is loneliness. Maybe it's sadness. Maybe it's grief. Whatever the feeling is, see it and thank it for the role it's played in your life. If you feel even heavier emotions coming up, don't fight them because there's better on the other side of that emotion. For many women, it can be difficult to change our thoughts and ourselves quickly. It feels unnatural to think, I'm a gorgeous woman, if our entire lives we've viewed ourselves as ugly. There's a few things you can do in this case. 1, don't push it. Maybe your temporary new thought is that you are enough as a woman. Eventually, your goal may be to see yourself as beautiful, but for now, you can choose to just be enough as you are. Whatever thought you choose, you have to believe it and feel it in your bones for it to become your reality. And then continue to repeat that new thought over and over again. Scribble it in your notebook, write it on your mirror, tattoo it on your arm. Whatever it is, if that's the message you need to hear, be the person who says it to you. Secondly, as you identify those negative thoughts, my guess is that you'll also be able to pinpoint the root of them and possibly the person who put that thought on you with their words and actions. It's natural to be angry, resentful, hurt, or sad as someone has spoken words to you that have felt like they've stripped you of your power. But you never really lost that power. It's still deep inside of you, waiting to be called to the surface again. We go into hiding when we're feeling too much pain from the external world. But I want to encourage you to not stay there. One way to break free is to offer forgiveness to those who have wronged you. Now, you don't have to call them up and say, I forgive you, but rather just feel it in your heart. The truth is that we are all hurting in this world, and it is the people that are hurting the most who then inflict that ugly on others. This can be deep work to do, so working with a therapist, a counselor, or a life coach can be very helpful if you have deep-seated anger and resentment. Forgiveness is freeing, and it's not for them as much as it is for us. Do you know how heavy it feels to carry around the weight of hating someone? When we let go of that pain, we open ourselves up to healing and love, and that is a step I want to see you take, my friend. Next, I want you to look for ways to love and celebrate yourself. Imagine yourself as a child. Would you constantly emotionally beat up your child for their mistakes? Or would you comfort them and forgive them? We want to do the same for ourselves and also be excited for ourselves. When you make progress in life, celebrate it. When you're having a hard day, comfort yourself. And when I say comfort, I want to be clear that that's not indulging in habits that are harmful, but offering yourself emotional support and being open to the feelings that you're experiencing. One practice that can be super powerful, but maybe really hard to do initially, is to look yourself in the mirror daily and tell yourself that you love yourself. It can feel awkward, goofy, and downright weird, but also, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect others to? So often we look to others to provide us with the feeling of love, which is really a desire for validation. But what if you chose to not need validation from others? What if your own opinion and love of yourself was enough? Wouldn't that be so freeing? And what would that do for your relationship with your partner, with your children, with your mom, with your friends, if you were just there simply for the relationship and not for your expectation of them? When we have a reservoir of self-love and also respect for ourselves, it can protect us against the hurtful words of others. We get to choose whether or not we want to engage with that person and allow their thoughts to impact us. And I also want you to start thinking about your needs, not the ones of your family, not the ones of your spouse, your community, your needs, the ones that maybe you've been ignoring for a long time. We ignore ourselves when we believe that our needs don't matter compared to those of others, but everybody has needs. And the more that you ignore them, the more you're going to find it harder to overcome your feeling of not being enough. Because when we invest in ourselves, it sends a message to our brains that we are worthy of it, that we are worthy of love, we are worthy of respect. So please start recognizing your needs and honoring those, even in the tiniest of ways. It all counts. Finally, here's what I need you to hear loud and clear. So are you listening? You, my friend, matter. You are worthy of love and respect and all the good things in the world to happen in your life. Whatever has happened to you in the past, however you've been hurt or mistreated, don't add to that mistreatment by self-hurting through your thoughts and words. You are so worthy of love exactly as you are right now, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay, mamas, that's it for today. Here's what I would love for you to do. Do you know another mama who needs to hear this message? Hint, it's basically everyone you know. Please share this message today with someone who needs to know she is loved and worthy. I appreciate you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.